So about 3 months ago I ordered a Harvey 52-inch table saw, and it's been sitting in the side of my shop for almost 2 months. And I finally have got the ability to get it over here now that I've renovated and start putting it together. So I wanted to walk through that with you guys and kind of look from beginning to end of what we got and how we're going to do it and go from there. So we have the cabinet saw, we have the EWP 8365, this is a right wing for the table saw. We have the RT800 router table, and we have sliding cutout table, the ST1500. We have thin curved riving knife, couple zero clearance plates. We got an RG2 back here. We have the RF36i gauge. We have so much stuff. The RT-DC dust collection cabinet for the router. We have the overarm dust collection kit. And we have the T-square fence down here, and in the back we have the front and back rails. This all did come in one package. Harvey worked with me quite extensively because I'm kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to these things. Making sure I was getting what I needed, and I ordered the whole setup. I also have in the back, again, sorry for the mess, I'm not done renovating yet, lots of bits and bobs for it. I have the Jessam guides to put on it. I have the Master Lift router table system to put on it. I have a Wixie digital readout for the front. I have a remote switch for the router, which I've heard can be a pain to mount. We'll see how that goes. I have the Bora roll around stand with the 52-inch extension for it. And I think there's a couple other little things over there which we'll get into later. But I'm going to walk through and unbox all this and, you know, kind of see, make sure everything's good and looks good and it's not all scratched up or dented and dinged, and see where we go from there. So let's get to it. Very well packaged. I'm not going to take that out yet. Again, it says on the side what it is, so looks like it's going to be good, and I will check it out thoroughly whenever I actually go to assemble it. The RT800, this is the router table for it. This is probably one of the best packaging jobs I've seen on about anything outside of what Apple does for their packaging. This is the RT800 31.5-inch cast iron table. I did talk to Harvey about that. I told them I would be kind of doing all this, and asked about some specifications on it for the tolerances and whatnot, and I don't really remember what they were off the top of my head, but we'll get back with them and find that out. We know the knife's going to be good. It's got some oil on it, which is probably, yep, from the part itself, lots of oil in there. We have of our zero clearance plates, and I ordered 2 of them. I'm not exactly sure why. I think my thought was one of those for a specific dado size, but I don't know that I'm doing that kind of job anymore, so I'm not sure. But these are some very heavy aluminum, anodized aluminum zero clearance plates. Comes with all the hardware you need in them. So that will be interesting, to say the least. I got 2 of those. And there's that riving knife. The RG2 I got, and I kind of got it for 2 things, the table saw and for use on the bandsaw, which we're doing that unboxing and all that as well. This is the 15-inch 3 horsepower industrial from Harvey, still in the box as well. So they've both been here, I would say about 2 months on the other side of my shop, because but the idea was when I ordered these, it was going to be a little while. I was going to get this side renovated, and then by the time they got here, everything should be good. Didn't work out that way. It took me a lot longer than expected. The RG2. Holy cow, that's a monster. That probably weighs 4 or 5 pounds, if I had to guess. Nice soft foam insert. They don't disappoint, but you can see how big that thing is. And in reverse, this gives you your tension. Very nice. They're expensive, but I'm a firm believer, if the situation allows it, that you can't go wrong by buying the right thing the first time. You don't have to buy them again. Especially when it comes to something like this, which helps precision and safety. Why do I not feel like that's going down? Oh, it's not going down because I'm putting it on backwards. There we go. Okay, there's the RG2. Back in there for safekeeping for the moment. What else we got? Rail sets, which that's almost 8 feet in that box. I'm not going to open that thing right now. Sliding crosscut table. I'll go ahead and pop that and take a peek. I don't know if we'll get it open or not. Depends on how it's packaged. Wow, that is a thick box. Again, they don't disappoint on the packaging. Boxes of boxes and boxes. It's going to be all the instructions and whatnot in there, which we're not getting into at the moment, as we're not putting it together yet. Legs. I know you can't see in here, and I apologize, but it's too heavy to flip up on its side. I'm just kind of looking at the packaging, making sure everything looks good. Comes with an Allen set, a wrench. I'd say that looks pretty good. Again, we'll get a better look at it when we go to put it together and install it. Router table fence. So this is the fence for the router table, which is the RF36i Imperial here on this side of the pond. More thick boxes. So you can see it's fully padded. instructions. That thing is a monster too. It's beautiful. Beautiful. You have appreciation for tools, as many of you know. You have a hard time using things that look that nice. Which is the downside of getting nicer tools. You're afraid to do things with them that you might do otherwise. So yeah, very, very nice. Let's see if I can repack this or not. Oh, what else do we have here? The fence, which I'm not going to pull out at the moment. The overarm dust collection, which I'm not sure yet that I'm even going to put on the saw, just because of where the router table is, and I plan on doing some doors and things, and I'm afraid it might get in the way, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And we got the dust collection. And this is the RTDC dust collection cabinet. I went ahead and got this. I thought about building the box underneath of it, you know, so I can put some drawers and stuff in it, but I'm already backlogged because it's taken so long to do all this, and it's kind of one of the reasons this is sort of rushed. I'd plan on doing a lot better job with this, but I just don't have the time, unfortunately, at this point to get too crazy, but I'm going to do my best for you. And same upper packaging, instructions. And I was curious if it came with the hose, and it does, which is good. And then the box is through it, comes with a little port connector. Two and 3/8 on the OD on the small side. Of course, that side will be your 4-inch connector, which is actually 3 7/8. All looks good. Actually, put these back in here so I don't get them lost. I know what it gets against the man code, but I will go in there and read all these directions before I get too far into it, because there's a little bit of customization I plan on doing. Like, you know, I'm sure what you're doing now is I did a lot of research before I bought into this whole system. And I looked at several of them that were out there. You know, I looked at the other big one. I've looked at the stuff. I landed on Harvey because of the, well, one, they seem to have a really good history in the industry. They built other companies' machines for a long time. And then they got into doing this themselves. So I would think that they understand a lot of the challenges, mechanical challenges that come from building such products. And the quality of these things is just crazy insane, really high quality, and that's something that I'm really keen on myself. But there's a few things that I did custom. When you get the 52 or the 36 inch saw, you get, I got a fly driving me nuts, you get a phenolic top on the right-hand side if you're standing in front of the saw. And I wasn't a big fan of that, and so I did some poking around, looked on the website, and they did make a cast iron wing for the table, but it didn't say whether or not it would fit on that side, and if it would even fit the 52, or if it would work with the RT800. So I called in, I talked to them about it, and they said that everything's bolt up fine. So that's, now you know, if you would like all cast iron, which is what I'm going for, you can order their wing and put it there in place of that phenolic top if you're going to go with the router table. And the other thing is, on the left side of the table, as you're standing in front of it, there is a short wing that they tell you to remove if you're going to install the ST1500 sliding table. And I'm thinking about leaving it there, leaving that wing on, and then tapping in the side and attaching it that way to give me more table space. The determining factor there will be how much adjustment I can get out of that out of their miter gauge, if it'll get close enough to that saw blade for me to like where it's at, because I would really like to have that extra table space. But we'll kind of see how that goes. But we're gonna put it together here. First thing we got to do is put the base together, which will be a different video, and we'll get that set up and we'll walk through that, and then we'll start getting some of this unpackaged, and I'll probably show you me trying to get this big ass machine over onto that, and it will go in front of this assembly table that I had built. I built this not specifically for this table, but I built it with this, having a table saw here in mind. This will end up butting up against here, and I'm gonna have to router some grooves in here for everything. So it should be interesting, but I just kind of wanted to walk through and talk a little bit about what I got going here and show you guys what I had, and I will probably take all of this and put it in one big video, and I'll have lots of little ones in case you're just interested in one specific aspect, because there's so many questions out there still even that I had, which is, well, what's the overall length, you know, without the tables and with the tables and with the router tables, and how big is it, and you know, how exactly high is it, and what if you get the Bora base, because a lot of people get that base. Exactly how high is that? There was one video out there where a guy talked about the overall width, but it wasn't super specific, especially if you're trying to build around it or something like that while you're waiting or before you get it. So anyway, that's it for now, and we will catch up here in a few and see how it goes.